Live Trader Showcase for December. It's the last one for the year. It's a quarterly event where we feature expert traders to bring you training and insights and techniques from 20 expert traders. We have prizes that we're giving away thanks to our wonderful speakers. Surprise interviews. We're calling them hot take interviews. I think you're going to love that. I'm going to play one in just a second. So please check out tradersexclusive.com, where we regularly post articles and video clips with valuable trading tips and techniques. And that's also where you're going to find recordings. Yes, we are recording of every day. And then what I'm doing is I'm downloading the video, 8 hours of video, which takes a little while. And then I'm segmenting it to each speaker and editing all of that. So it takes a little while, but I'm hopeful that I'll have them up by today, what we did yesterday. So before we get started, I need to share our quick disclaimer. Of course, you know this, but it's required that we say it out loud. You should carefully consider whether trading is suitable for you in light of your circumstances, knowledge, and financial resources. You may lose all or more of your initial investment. Opinions, market data, and recommendations are subject to change at any time. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Marina Villatoro, the trader chick, is with us, coming to us all the way from, I think, Spain, but I also heard she was traveling. So you never know where you're going to find her. So we're going to ask her in just a second. But she's going to be talking to us about understanding market trends with live market analysis. Is that right? Yes, it is. Okay, and she specializes in helping people to day trade with confidence and ease. She simplifies the process by completely breaking down the art of identifying high probability trade setups. Even if you're just getting started, you can learn to day trade profitably and read the markets like a pros. You'll be amazed at how simple it can be. And you know what else there is about this? She trades all over the world and in all different kinds of settings. So that can help you know how to pivot.
All right, awesome. All right, well, thanks everybody for being here. I see that we have a full house. I'm so excited. Thank you. So right now I am in Barcelona. It is 6 p.m. my time, and I know that it is noon your time. So I'm just grateful for you guys to be here today on this glorious Thursday. I cannot believe we are in December 2023. This year probably has been the fastest year so far, without a doubt, but it's been a great year. It's been awesome. So I'm grateful you guys are here. So let's get in and start. So today I do want to talk to you guys about simplifying your day trading. And I want to actually focus on the breakout trade, because the breakout trade is considered to be one of the most impactful and highly probable trades that there are. Yet if you don't see the full picture, you're going to be missing it, right? And the goal here is for us to be able to see and understand how to be able to spot these high probability trades. So let's begin. This is me. I am Marina, the trader chick. And today we're going to be covering understanding the market movements, how to use your indicators, as Norman said, also talking about scalping, the breakouts, all that really fun stuff. So the official intro, as we were talking about, I now live in Barcelona, Spain. I have actually been an expat for over 20 years in total. Me and my family just moved to Barcelona about 10 months ago. Before that, we were living in Costa Rica and in Guatemala for almost 20 years in total. And I've actually been an expat for that many years, for over 20 years. And I have to say it's been the absolute best experience for me and my family. And I know that a lot of times when I mention this, people are really interested to also find out how to become an expat. So I'm happy to answer all your questions, but I would recommend just writing to me personally, and I'm happy to answer all of those questions. So that is me, Marina, in Barcelona. And before I was a day trader, I was actually a fitness instructor and a travel writer. So the reason why I bring that up is mainly because a lot of people believe that to be a day trader, you have to have like a math background or financial background or even an engineering background. And honestly, you don't. You don't need any of that. What you do need to do is simply have the desire, right? And that's what I want to talk to you about. We all could be really successful traders. We just have to take certain steps as we would in anything that we do. And I'm still a travel writer. I actually have a travel site that I've had for over 20 years now as well. And I'm trilingual. And the main reason why I bring up that I am trilingual is because I probably struggled for 2 or 3 years when I first began day trading. And when I started to look at day trading and the markets as if though it was learning a whole new language, that's when everything kind of changed for me. And mainly, so I was a Soviet Union refugee. We moved to the United States when I was really young. So Russian is my mother tongue, but English is the language that I didn't actually learn English as much as I just learned how to continue speaking, and it just happened to be English because I was fluent within a couple of months. But Spanish, I learned when I was in my later 20s, right? In my late 20s. And if anybody here has learned a second language, you do understand that it's a whole process, right? And when I started to take that knowledge of how I learned Spanish and put it towards understanding the markets and realizing that the markets has its own language, that's when everything changed for me, because I started to apply that process and I started to listen to the markets. I started to read the markets. I started to work with the markets rather than try to beat the market or try to predict the market or just go in blindly, which is a lot of people do, right? There's no barrier to entry when we are working with the markets. Anybody could just put in money and go. But you can't do that, right? There's a language for everything that we do in life, and that goes specifically for the financial markets. Imagine if you want to learn Spanish and you enter a room where it's full of native speaking Spanish speakers, right? You cannot possibly imagine that you're going to have a very good conversation with these people. It's impossible, right? When you don't even know how to say, hola, mi nombre es Marina, right? And that's what people do with the markets. They think, well, just because I have some money, I'm going to just go in and become a millionaire. But no, you have to understand what the market is telling you. You have to be able to listen to it. And that's what I want to talk to you guys about today. And the coolest thing of all, like Sherry mentioned, I do travel. Me and my family travel all the time. All the time. We just got back from the States, and in 2 weeks we're going to Geneva, and then we're going to go to France, and then we're going to go to Turkey. So we're constantly traveling, right? Like, that's the beauty of day trading, is that you can do it from anywhere in the world. There is zero excuse about internet today. And before COVID, I was a regular with the Money Show and Traders Expo in live. But today, I love to be live with you guys here online like this. So what we're going to be talking about today is learning the 4 basic strategies of what the market is telling us, right? Literally, it's just 4 basic things. And once you could apply those basic things, then you could start to stack up and really, really be able to grow. I always say that, you know, and especially when people are just putting money into markets or donating their money to the market, that we're putting in windows without any walls, and the windows keep on crashing. So what we want to do is these 4 basic strategies. It's kind of like the foundation, right? It's kind of like when you're sitting in the car. Like, imagine you get in the car today and you just know what to do, right? Because you've learned this. But when you first sat down, imagine, try to go back and remember, you know, when you sat down for the first time in the car and everybody's telling you, all right, put your foot on the clutch, switch your gear into first, release the clutch, release the brake, you're out of your mind. You're like, wait, I don't understand anything what's going on, because there's a certain certain words that we're using, language, right? But now today, it's just automatic. So it's the same thing with the market. And that's what I really want to talk to you guys about. Now, before we go anywhere, I have the entire presentation for you guys right here. Go to makingofadaytrader.com. You can get the entire presentation for free, so you can follow along. And also, when you get the replay, you could then go at your own pace. Go to makingofadaytrader.com. Makingofadaytrader.com. So let's begin. Let's get back to those basics, right? Like putting in those bricks to start to hold our windows in place by building our trading foundation. What are these basics? First and foremost, you cannot be a professional trader if you do not have the proper software. It is simply not possible. You need to have the proper software. What is that? That is just a platform. And today there are so many incredible platforms that there is absolutely no excuse. All right, you guys, there's no excuse for platforms. When I first began over 12 years ago, there was only like 3 or 4 to choose from. Today, there's many. So if you guys have confusion about which ones work, the best ones, I'm super happy to help you with these because I know that there are so many different ones to choose from. So I'm happy to help you guys choose the right ones, but you need to have this, right? It's like, imagine being a Formula One driver. You want to be a Formula One racer and you're jumping into a minivan. I mean, it's ridiculous, right? It looks silly, it looks stupid, it's unbelievable. And that's what a lot of people do when they're like scrolling on their apps, Don't do that, guys. That's not going to work. And the coolest thing about having a platform is that you get free universal indicators. And you do not need to go and spend more money on indicators because the platforms, they offer free indicators. All right. So let's begin. Market movement. All right, the market movement and the breakdown of a trend. This is like the most important thing. This is the foundation. So we all know that there are 3 types of trends. We have the upward trend, we have the downward trend, but honestly, the most important trend is the sideways trend. Why is that? Because this is where the majority of the people lose their money. Why? Because this is a flat area, right? This is an area that a lot of amateur traders want to pretend that they could predict what's going to happen next, or they think that they could beat the market by beating at its own game, which is totally untrue. What is the sideways trend? This is the chop, the exhaustion pattern, the indecision zone, the channeling market, the flat line, however you want to call it, the consolidation area. The bottom line is it's flat. There is absolutely no movement, right? It's just not going anywhere. So you don't want to be putting your hard-earned money into a market that really does not have any direction until you could spot what is going to happen. And that's that confirmation. And that's what we are going to be talking about today. Spotting those sideways trends will do 2 very huge things for you. One, save you a ton of money so that you have the money ready to enter those highly probable trades. And 2, when that sideways trend breaks, we are ready to either go for a breakout, or I'm going to give you a bonus trade, which is a new trend trade. So we're going to be talking about all of that in just a little bit. All right, so as you can see here, trending markets, guys, it could be super strong down, but then it could become flat and then it could transition, or it could have a breakout, right? You never know, but we are going to be learning how to spot these. And this is used for any indicator, for any instrument on any platform. Okay, that's how powerful this is. You do not need to buy special stuff. All you need is a charting software. So what is an upward trend? Super simple. Each pivot is higher than the next. All right? Don't overthink it. Each pivot is higher than the next. It is the bull market, the market trending up, market going up. This is where you are entering a buy. This is when you are going long, meaning you are entering low, exiting high, and you're taking your money in between. You are taking that profit in between. That is literally what this means. All right, you're entering low, exiting high, taking the money in between. You are buying, going long. All right, going long. That's what this means. You are buying. Now, what is a downward trend? It's literally the exact opposite. Each pivot is lower than the one before, right? And because we are pro traders go on the downward trend probably even more than on the upward trend because it happens a lot more and it's a lot faster. This is where you are entering a sell. This is where you are selling. This is when you are going short. All right, you are putting in a short position. What does that mean? It means that you are entering high, exiting low, and taking all that money in between. That's when you're taking that profit. Entering high, exiting low, taking the profit in between. You are shorting the market. All right, this is a bear market, market going down, market trending down. All right, now let's really focus on these consolidation areas, these transition areas. I literally call them a trader's worst enemy. And we are going to learn how to spot them, and we're going to learn how to avoid them. Because once you know how to avoid them, you save yourself a ton of money and your confidence stays intact. I know that a lot of people forget how important confidence is in day trading. It's not about the money. It's not about the money. If that is going to shock you, then that is when you realize that you're an amateur. Because if you speak to any pro traders, they will tell you right away, it's never about the money. It's all about making those right decisions. Because when you make the right decisions, your confidence level is high. That's when you start to hit those profit targets. And that's when you start to make the real money. Otherwise, if you're just chasing the money, you're literally just chasing trades and you're going to be failing every time. So let's talk about what is the sideways market, this consolidation market. Look at this right here. Okay, I have these two areas drawn out. I have a resistance area and a support area, and I'm going to really explain it to you just a little bit. But we have a very obvious channel. Look at this market. It is just bouncing in between these two areas, right? Bouncing back and forth. This is when there is absolutely no movement. And then boom, it breaks through, and that's when we learn how to enter those breakout trades. So why is it that we lose so much money during these areas? First of all, is because a lot of times we think that we can predict what the market is going to do and that we want to outbeat the market, which is just ludicrous, right? Because one thing the market is always going to do is always going to put you in your place, and it's always going to humble you. So how do we work with the market? Well, first and foremost, there's two types of traders, right? There's two types of traders. I know there's millions of traders out there, but at the end of the day, there's only actually two types. And the one is the trend is your friend type of a trader. So when they're seeing something like this, they're seeing the market going up, and then all of a sudden they see this flat area. And what they're doing is they're pretending to tell themselves that this, the market's been going up all day, it's got to continue, and they're going to go in for a long. Or the second kind of a trader, which is the contrarian trader, they're going to be looking at this market. They're like, you know what? The market has been going up all day. It's got to correct. I'm going to short the market. So here's the reality. The only real trader that does win is the one that just listens, okay? And that's the third trader. And the reason why I said there's only two is because in the beginning, when everybody begins, especially amateurs, they usually go into contrarian or the trend is your friend. But the reality is the one that wins are the ones that are the most logical. So when they're seeing this action happening, they're saying to themselves, you know what? I'm just going to sit it out. I'm going to hold on to my money until the market is going to show me what the market is going to show me. And it's going to tell me what my next step is going to be after it gives me a confirmation. And that is when we win. All right, because like I mentioned earlier, you could have super strong trends going down or up, and then boom, you could have that flat line, and it will just keep you there. And by the time you enter a new trend or it breaks out because you've been thinking that you're going to outbeat the market, you're going to be out of money, right? And this is a really good way for you to go back into your records, into your trade books, logs, or journals, whatever, wherever you keep your trade setups and your trade records, you will notice where the majority of the losses are, and they're always going to be in this sideways area, always, because this is that slowdown, this is that flat zone. Okay, and if you guys don't believe me, I can guarantee it, because I've been there. I know that this is where the majority of the losses go. because there's nowhere to go, right? It's flat, it's bouncing in between. You keep on putting your money thinking you're going to outsmart it, and next thing you know, you're out of money, and by the time it actually breaks through or breaks out, you have no more money to give to the market anymore because you've donated it all already there. So by the time it's really time to take the right trades, you don't have that money to be putting in anymore. So that's why we need to stay out of the market whenever we see these flat areas. Excuse me. All right, so sideways market, guys. Let's again look here. Look at this area. Do you really want to be part of that market? I certainly don't. So how do we spot these areas? How do we stay out? Look, the market respects areas, and we, as retail, pro traders, individual traders, we need to respect those areas as well. And as I mentioned earlier, those areas are support and resistance. They are incredibly important. And when we understand and can spot them and draw them in, we protect ourselves from so many bad entries. Look, you cannot do a mental support and a mental resistance. Every single platform that you will work with, that you obviously get, that is a good platform, they give you free drawing tools so that you are able to draw in those areas. Because here's the reality. Just going back to that Formula One analogy, Formula One racing is a high adrenaline activity, right? It's very high adrenaline. The same thing with trading. How many of you guys feel your heart pumping? You are just full of adrenaline when you're entering that market with your real money. It's normal, right? So when we are in high adrenaline mode, when we look to the left to confirm that we did the right decision of entering a valid trade, we need to have that whole area drawn in and told us, yes, this is the reason we just broke through this particular area. There's no divergence. Okay, it's continuing on, or it broke through, right? We understand why. But if you're just putting in mental resistance, support areas, or even worse, those mental stops. Oh my goodness, those mental stops. They are as stupid as putting on a mental seatbelt on your baby, thinking that you're going to protect it in a car crash. Literally, that is exactly what those mental stops, mental support, and resistance areas are all about. Now, what is exactly a resistance area? A resistance area is when the market is going up and all of a sudden starts to hit an area over and over and over again. It's literally hitting a ceiling, right? So we protect ourselves by drawing it in. We need to draw that ceiling in and realize where it is hitting it over and over again. And it can do that quite a lot of times, and it can revisit it. So when we already draw it in and when it revisits that area, we're prepared. We know that this is a very strong resistance area, right? And this is where the market could hit. Even if it's going super hard, it's like those crash test dummies, right? That drive really fast into those brick walls. That's what a resistance or a support area can do. What is a support? Support area is the floor of the market. It is the floor of the market. It is where the market is being hit over and over and over and over and over again. It is the floor of the market. All right. And again, the market revisits over and over again. We need to respect those areas. We need to draw them in and know. All right. This is a support area. It's so important to draw these areas in, and it's free to draw them in. Completely free. This way, we are also prepared when we have a good, strong channel. We are recognizing when the market isn't doing anything. So now we have it completely drawn out. We are waiting for it to either break out or change direction. So we're going to be talking about that in just a few minutes. Now, the really important question a lot of people ask me is, how do we spot this in the beginning? Because a lot of times by the time we recognize that it's already happening, we've already lost money, which makes sense, right? Maybe the very first one, but once we spot it, immediately you don't go in again. But the problem is once somebody loses money, they become revenge trading. They become emotional. And that's when they just start to completely spiral out of control. And next thing they know, they have lost their entire account. Okay. So we need to understand this because look at this ugly, ugly, ugly market. Just because it's a wide channel does not mean that it is a tradable channel. Okay, look at it. There's absolutely no movement. It's bouncing back and forth. So we need to understand where we can enter so that it gives us really high probability trades. Now, how do we recognize these areas from the very beginning to be able to save our money for those really high probable trades? And this is reversal areas and divergences. To me, I literally call this a trader's map to the shift in direction and trend. What are reversal areas? They are double tops, triple tops, double bottoms, triple bottoms, head and shoulders. Do these reversal patterns mean that it's going to reverse? Absolutely not. No. What it is telling you, though, it is a very high probability chance that it will. But you do not enter a reversal trade until you have full confirmation. Because at first, this started out as a double top. Then it became a triple top, which made it into a resistance area before it shifted down. But what if it keeps on going until it shifts? What it is telling me, though, is that there is a massive slowdown in the trend. And I do not want to be putting my money into a trend that is completely losing its strength. Now, divergences. Divergences to me are literally my holy grail because it is the very first signs, right? It's the market starting to tell you, hey, you want to take a little break because right now I'm about to start to slow down. So what is a divergence? I personally use, you see these red dots below? That is the MACDs. I personally use the MACDs. So as you can see here, the price action is moving up. Meanwhile, my MACDs are moving down. What is that telling me? It's telling me that the market is slowing down. That trend is slowing down. And again, I don't want to be putting in money that I've worked really hard for in a market that is starting to totally lose steam and strength. I want to hold on to that money. And when I see a double bottom, a reversal pattern with divergence, I'm completely out. I do not touch because there is a very high chance that this is where it's about to reverse, and I want to be ready to enter that reversal trend. Okay, this is how I look at it. So when I see divergence, I'm already out. But to quadruple the confirmation for me, reversal patterns with divergence, I don't come nowhere near that market. And that's what makes it so powerful to be able to read what the market is telling you. All right, guys, let's put this all together. Remember, I have the entire presentation making of a day trader.com. This way you can go with it when you get the replay and follow along. All right, now let's talk about the breakout areas. How do we spot the valid breakout? First and foremost, it's so important to understand what is a breakout. Like I mentioned earlier, you cannot have a mental resistance or a mental support area drawn in, right? Because a mental does not count. So you need to draw it in, even if it's just a line. So what is a breakout? What exactly is going on here? So imagine we live all the way at the very bottom, the slowest pivot that you're seeing right here, okay? And your best friend lives at the highest pivot of this chart. And your friend calls you up and they're like, hey, I'm having an impromptu barbecue, come on over. You hop in your car, you've been to your friend's house a million times. You hop in, you are full of confidence, full of energy, you know exactly where you go, and you're hopping on that highway. But all of a sudden, as you're on the highway, there's this massive construction area. And the construction worker is like, all right, detour, get off the road because we're closing this road. There's a massive hole in the road. You got to turn. So this is when you get off the detour. Google Maps has not caught up and is constantly sending you back to the highway. So I don't know about you, but I am now in freak out mode. I am in total doubt and uncertainty. What if they don't continue with the detour signs? I've been to many of those where they forgot to continue with the detour signs. I don't know where I'm at. I'm getting lost. I'm stressing out. What if they don't fix the road? What if, right? When I'm full of what ifs, do I really want to be putting my money on me to say, yes, I'm going to continue? No, this is that indecision area. That's that uncertainty zone. That is the channel. That is that exhaustion pattern, the chop, the indecision zone, right? But then all of a sudden, the construction worker is like, all right, guys, the highway is back open. You can go ahead. Boom, we are on that highway going in that same direction. That is a breakout with a lot of confidence and energy. Boom, we are continuing. That's the breakout. Okay. That's how you recognize it. So when you're in that consolidation area, that uncertainty zone, that what if zone, okay, that stress area, you do not want to be putting your money in there. But the second that highway is back open, that construction area is cleared, boom, that's where you want to be putting your money in because you know that the road is good to go. All right, so that is how I spot those breakout trades. I have to have my areas drawn in. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I use the MACDs to really use for entering my trades and to be able to understand divergences and strength. If you look at my MACDs below, where the red dots are, you'll see a black dashed line. That black dashed line, that is the zero line. That is the dead area, right? That is where there's absolutely no strength in the market. And then all of a sudden, boom, you can see here the market breaks out of this area and it flies out. Now you can see the massive area between the dash line and my MACDs. This is that breakout area. This is where you get to see all of the massive area coming out. After breakout, do you wait for a pullback for an entry? Always. Always, always, always. I never just enter the market. I always have an order waiting because I have a strategy. I know when the market is about to break out, when it does break out, I needed to go back to my EMA. So that's where my order waiting is right there. And if it's a no fill, I don't care. I let that one go because there's always another trade coming. There's always another trade coming. All right. But because I have done so much back testing, I have really, really focused and really worked hard on this breakout trade. I do know that the chance of it retracing back to my entry and for me to be able to enter and get and hit the profit is over 90%. That is what a beautiful trade setup that is. Again, if you don't have your areas drawn out, guys, you're going to miss those areas. So now I want to talk about that bonus trade that I was talking about, the initial reaction trade setup. All right, what is that? That is when it is a new trend. Why is a new trend so powerful? Here's a good example. Imagine you guys want to go jogging. All right. You put on your jogging clothes, you put on your jogging shoes, and you are out the door ready to go. This is when, if I was going to put money on you, I would put money on you right there because I know that is where you have the most amount of energy, the most amount of motivation, right? Is running out that door. That is a new trend, guys. When there is a new trend, when we see it, like the way I use my MACDs, I see when it switched direction. I see when there is massive area, there's no divergence. I'm entering as early as possible because usually the beginning of the trend is usually the highest chance of the most amount of profit that I could get. Again, we're talking 90% chance of hitting that profit zone, right? And that is huge, huge. You do not want to be entering any trades that are less than 80%. And it's possible. You have to have a strategy. You have to know what you're looking for. You have to read what the market is telling you. All right. And that is exactly what we do when we put in those areas, when we look for those divergences, when we look for those breakouts, when we look for those transitions. All right, guys. So hang on one second. With what moving averages do I use? I use 3 moving averages. I use the EMA lines are 20, 52, and 135. I use 3 EMAs because I have only one chart, because I travel a lot. I only use my laptop. I am able to have those 3, which are 3 different time zones on the same thing. Look, guys, we have absolutely everything we need to succeed. We have these amazing presentations and these summits. We have YouTubers that we can watch. We have amazing books, podcasts, right? Charts, understanding. But the reality is, how do you know that you are doing it right? How do you know that you're doing it right? At the end of the day, how do you know? Who is there to be able to tell you, yes, this is when you see the divergence. Yes, this is a good support area. Yes, this is when it's breaking through that support area. And all of this is great, but the real question you're probably asking is, how do I get started? And this isn't usually from beginners only. As a matter of fact, the majority of times I get asked by seasoned traders who have been trading for ages but are still not consistently profitable. And they ask me, what do I do to turn this around to become profitable consistently? And honestly, it is truly as simple as having your basics being kind of relearning the basics, or actually learning the basics. A lot of times we are never even taught the basics. We just overlook the basics, right? Because the majority of the times it's just not cool to be looking at the basics. And when you go back to the basics and understand them, everything starts to make sense. And honestly, this was my problem from the beginning. Look, when we hop in the car, again, I'm going to remind you guys, when we hop in that car, the first time we entered that car, we did not know the basics, right? We did not know the basics. Today, we fully take that for granted. But there was someone who taught us that, either your mother, your father, or a driving ed teacher. Someone taught you the basics, even as basic as, where are the blinkers? Where is the gear shift? Where is the clutch? Where is the accelerator? How to turn the ignition on, right? These are not things we are born with. And imagine, just go into your creative minds, but imagine somebody gets into your car who has never, ever been in a car before, and you tell them, all right, buckle up your seatbelt. This is going to save your life. And they are like, buckle up. I have to buckle up with seatbelt. What is a seatbelt? I don't know what a seatbelt is, because no one ever taught them that. So they're stressing out because it's the one thing that's going to save their life. Look, if you're never taught the basics, if you're never taught these foundations, we're not born with this information. And this was my own sad truth. I spent over $20,000 on my trainings. No joke, no joke. And every single time I was asking, can you please explain reversals? Can you please explain divergences? Can you please explain to me about the EMA lines, about the resistance support areas? I was either treated like I was born with that information or completely ignored, right? And that is not cool, because they are the most important things. They are what is going to keep my windows intact when I start to put them in, because my walls are built. And I ended up struggling for years and losing money for years, until after 2 years, after constantly losing money, I ended up losing almost $4,000 within 5 minutes. And I just felt defeated. I was defeated. I was just so done. I was so sad, because everything I was doing, it was just not working. And I literally ended up quitting. I ended up quitting. But here's the thing, guys, and I know that everybody in the room is the same. We are all bit by the trading bug, and it never stops itching. And do you know why? Do you know why that is? Because deep down inside, we know that we can do this. While I quit for about 4 or 5 months, but I never went away. I was still watching others, and I'm like, if they could do it, I know I can. I'm smart enough. What is holding me back? And that's when I decided to come back, and I decided to go back to the basics. Not only that, look, I had 3 monitors going, 3 monitors, no joke. I had 3 monitors, I had multiple charts. So I took 2 monitors, they were brand new, high definition monitors, and I donated them to my garbage bin. Then I stripped my entire chart of all my indicators. I had like 10 indicators, and I stripped it to go to the bare naked price action. And then I slowly started to put in my indicators, because the thing is, guys, this is a huge misconception. We watch all these different gurus, all these different people, and everybody's telling us what indicators they use and what are the most important indicators. And I remember I was always so much stress going on from Kettler bands, Bollinger bands, and Fibonacci's, right? These are the most popular ones, but I had them because I thought that that's what I had to have. But the second I removed them, I had this load just lifted. I was never aligned with those indicators. And sometimes that's what all you need to do is just process of elimination. What indicator makes sense to you? For me, today it's just the EMAs and the MACDs. I have 2 indicators. They work beautifully for me. They keep things simple. I don't overstress. Okay. And funny enough, couple of years back, one of my students goes to me, he's like, Marina, your whole teaching strategy is very similar to Coach John Wooden. And I'm like, who is this guy? Who's Coach John Wooden? And I started to look him up. And this man was a legendary coach, legendary. And his entire philosophy is, when in doubt, get back to the basics. And I mean, this guy, his team, his basketball teams have won 88 national championships in a row, 10 NCAAs. Okay, he trained and had his teammates were all A-star. Okay, all-star team. And yet every season, he would go back to the basics. How to tie your shoe, how to roll up your sock, how to dribble the ball, right? Because he knew that egos are always going to take over. But if you go back to the basics, if you stick with the basics, it doesn't matter all that you know. If you're on that field and you didn't tie your shoelace properly and you trip and you sprain your ankle, you're out for the rest of the season. It doesn't matter if you know everything and if you have won 88 national championships. Going back to the basics is the most important thing. And today I have a very special offer for you guys only, for participants only. I have my introductory course, Bootcamp for Day Trading. Bootcamp for Day Trading. This is my introductory course. You can do it on any apparatus, on laptops, desktops, tablets, phones, any apparatuses, you name it. And all of this is $97. Okay, I want you guys right now to stop everything, whatever you're doing, and just go here. You guys have took the time to be here with us today, so please go right now. Put in your navigator, bootcamp for daytrading.com. Put this in so that you guys can follow along and see exactly what this one-time $97 fee offers you. All right, are you guys ready? Bootcamp for daytrading.com. What can you guys get for $97 that is going to bring you the same return on investment? Do you guys play golf? Me and my husband play golf. And when we first moved to Guatemala, it was $29 per person. When we left, it was $119 per person. Now, that's Guatemala. I can't imagine what it is in the States or other parts of Europe or Canada. Okay, how about going out to eat? We love to go out to eat. Today, $97 barely covers a meal for two with wine. Unfortunately, that is the reality. $97, guys. All right, let me break this down for you. Remember, go here, bootcampfordaytrading.com. Go here right now and let's follow along. What you guys will get, you'll get a simplified day trading package. And like I mentioned earlier, there are so many different platforms, and I know that they can be very intimidating to set up. So I have a 30-minute platform tutorial. We set it up and get right into the fun stuff of trading so that you do not waste your time figuring out how to set up your platforms. I help you with that, so there's no problems. Then we really go into dissecting those markets, understanding the uptrend, the downtrend, and the most important, the sideways trend, right? Where we end up losing all of our money. No more. Now we're going to be able to save our money and take those really high probability trades because we are recognizing those sideways areas, because we understand the magic telltale signs of reversals and divergences. All right, guys, we are focusing on the support, the resistance. We're watching those divergences because, like I said earlier, to me, divergence is the holy grail. All right, and breakout mastery, understanding that power of the breakout, how to spot those breakouts, how to avoid those fake out breakouts. Guys, this is so great. Like, you will be learning all of that to be able to avoid those fake out breakouts. And they happen. They happen a lot, but they don't have to be anything that you worry about. Okay, you could totally avoid them. And you have unlimited access to this curriculum. All of this is valued at $1,600. Okay, this is all that we're going to be getting in here. First and foremost, I want to give you guys a little bit of what my other students say. And like I mentioned earlier, trading, you can do it from anywhere in the world, right? And I have students anywhere, all over the world because of that. That's the cool thing about trading. So Michelle said, best money I've ever spent. Finishing this boot camp now is the best. You are the only mentor that checks the work, Derek says. Adrian says, I am enjoying your boot camp so much. I am learning every day. I want to go back to sharing something very important with you. Remember when I asked you, how do you know you are doing it right? How do you know you're doing it right? Look, no more questioning that, because with this one-time 97 fee, I am giving you one entire month, 30 days, one-on-one mentorship, non-stop, unlimited feedback from me. We work together for one entire month because I know having a mentor is what's going to take you to that next level, 100%. And I am your mentor. Plus, I also have a live trade chat room where we go over all of the different things we are learning, implementing in the live market. All of this is valued at $2,600, but for you guys, only today, $97. This is 60% off what I normally charge. And I only give 2 weeks of mentorship. So you guys get 30 full days. All right, let's go here right now. Again, go into the navigator, bootcampfordaytrading.com. Here's what you guys get for this $97. Everything in the course. 30 days, one-on-one mentorship with me, and 30 days in the live chat room membership. All of this is worth less than one trade. I know for a fact that the average trades are between $200 and $400. We all do it. I know that that's my average trade for a fact. This is less than one regular trade. You guys will get 10x return on your investment. And you can also go out and take your family, your friends to 100 of these dinners. Bootcampfordaytrading.com. But here's the thing, because of my mentorship, because of the time that I spend one-on-one with my students, I only have 25 spots. And those 25 spots, they go really fast. So honestly, $97, non-brainer. So go right here. This is right here, bootcampfordaytrading.com, for daytrading.com. This is the order form. So you can see right here, one-time fee, $97. If by chance you want to do a payment plan, I have 2 months, $59, but you get automatic instant access to everything. So go here right now, bootcamp for daytrading.com. All right, and a quick nickel versus slow dime trade. My entry is everything tight stop, short stop, attainable. Right. Obtainable all in and out. Never ever cared how much left on the table. I'm not really understanding what you're saying, Tom. Not really sure. In a quick nickel slow dime trader, therefore. Yeah, entry is absolutely 100% everything. There is nothing else. There's absolutely nothing else, right? It's where we enter. Absolutely. And that is called strategy. That is literally what our strategy is all about. All right, guys, let's go here right now. Bootcamp for daytrading.com. Bootcamp for daytrading.com. You get to work with me for 30 days non-stop. All right, you can't beat that. Bootcamp for daytrading.com. Oops, hang on a second here. What's happening? All right, let me put that in for you right here. Bootcamp for daytrading.com. All right, guys. And what time frame am I using? I personally work with tick charts. However, we work with what is the best for you. And what's really, really important to understand, guys, time frame is so important. If you are a swing trader and you're looking at 1 to 3 minute charts, it's not going to work. And if you're a day trader looking at 1 day charts, also not going to work. So we really talk about the time frame as well, because if you are swing trading, I want to make sure that you guys are understanding the proper time frame for that. If you guys are day trading, then we focus on the correct time frame so that you really go with the flow and you are looking at the correct data and you are working with your charts properly. All right, guys, let me know if there's any other questions, and thank you again so much for being here. And go to bootcampfordaytrading.com. $97. One really quick thing. I know that it is the holiday season, so you could get the offer right now. And if you feel like waiting until January to start with a mentorship, it's whenever you decide to start with a mentorship, because I do understand the holidays, no problem. You could have it now and start with me in the new year. Absolutely. You just let me know, Marina, we're going to start in January, and that's totally cool. All right, guys. Thank you, Sherry, again for having me. And thanks everybody for being here.
Thanks so much, Marina. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful Christmas, and stay safe out there, I guess, huh?
You too. Definitely enjoy your holidays. Stay warm.
You too. Have a good one.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.